So honestly, my favorite videos to make are the videos at the end and at the beginning of the year, because I really like to reflect on things that didn't work in the previous year so that I can set my intentions for the year going forward. And I find that just helps my mental health so much to like have goals to focus on and things like that. So this video is no exception. I like to make a video that basically is reflecting on my favorite swaps from the previous year and that I think would basically make really good swaps going into the new year. So that is what I want to talk about today, my favorite zero waste sustainable swaps from 2024 that I think will also be really good swaps for 2025. I'll walk you through all the things that I used a lot this year that I think were like the best swaps, but some of them are repeats of things that like I've been using for years, but I got particularly really good use out of in 2024. And with that, I will say that I have been trying to live a more eco-friendly lifestyle for like 15 years or something wild. That feels so weird to say, but I've tested a lot of things over that amount of time, right? And so I feel like when I tell you that something is good, I've got a lot of time and effort to back it up. So I want to talk about first some of the things that I may have talked about before. We'll go through those kind of quickly. And then I want to talk about the things that are new. So without further ado, I will leave everything linked in the description box if you're curious. And let's get into it. So I have talked about this before in my video where I talk about the swaps for my bathroom. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. But this is essentially what is known as a makeup eraser, a magical makeup eraser. I don't know if it's called magical. It feels magical to me. I've been using this for the last couple years, and the reason that I really like it is because I don't like, whoa, okay, well, it's down there. But the reason I like this is because when I double cleanse, I don't like to get like oil or soap in my eyes. I'm just a little bit of a baby about that maybe. I like to take off my eye makeup with this, it's just easier. And obviously it creates a lot less waste and also saves a lot of money because you can reuse it over and over and over again. So great for travel, great for eye makeup. It's really good at taking off your makeup. Oh, another reason I really like this, and this fits really well into my routine, is because I don't like washing my face at the sink. I don't like taking my makeup off at the sink. I feel like it creates a mess. I don't know how people do that every single day. It makes me so anxious seeing like water or remnants of makeup all around my sink. So I like to wash my face in the shower. If I get home really late and I don't feel like doing the whole production and I just want to take my makeup off so that I'm not sleeping in it, this is a godsend. So I love this thing. I've talked about it before. I would say I'm not going to go on forever about it, but I feel like I already did. So there's that. Next up is not necessarily a thing as much as it is like the action of the thing. So I've been talking about for years, if you're gonna host something at your home, you should ask people to bring takeout containers so that they can take leftovers that you have home. This helps prevent food waste. It helps prevent any other single-use waste, helps prevent you from giving people your containers and maybe never getting them back. That's the reason I don't like to do it. But also people would bring me their like reused containers. So like if they got takeout that week, they would bring that over and then we would just store it in a part of our kitchen. And then when people forget to bring their containers, or if there's someone there that didn't get the memo, whatever it is, we have containers to reuse to take leftovers in. Great way to reuse, great way to prevent food waste, great way to prevent losing your good like food storage containers, and a good way to not have to do like plastic Ziploc baggies. Or when I was a kid, we would use like paper plates and put foil over the leftovers, and that's how we would take them home. But we don't have to do any of that because I was just telling people like, hey, bring your containers when you come. My bamboo head for my electric toothbrush, again, I have talked about this, but I just feel like it doesn't get enough hype. My partner and I share the same electric toothbrush, but we switch out the heads whenever we brush our teeth. And that has just worked really, really well for us. And I have to put it in here because it's something I use literally every day, multiple times a day, which makes it one of the best swaps of both years for me. Period underwear have always been a tried and true swap for me. This is a swap. Instead of using like tampons or pads, you use these underwear, you wash them, you reuse them. They save me a lot of money. They are also just so much more comfortable than I think any of the other experiences that are like typical for being on your cycle are, like pads and tampons. So this is always a swap for me, period underwear. Specifically K&S period underwear, the period underwear that I created with one of my best friends, Catherine Kellogg. We created this brand called K&S, and they are the most comfortable period underwear that I have ever worn. I was going through some serious health things this year with a bunch of different parts of my health, but specifically with my cycle. I always get like, I don't want to be TMI, I don't want to ick anybody out, but I was bleeding for 6 weeks, and half of that was very heavy, and I lived in these. Specifically, these are our boy shorts, and they're so comfortable that like I wasn't wearing underwear and then like a pad and then a pair of shorts, which is just like way too many layers and way too uncomfortable for living in them for 6 weeks. All the while I was feeling awful. I was drained because of what was going on with my body. It was just an overall really negative experience for me, obviously. So having something that I didn't have to worry about that was really, really comfortable, like K&S minus period underwear was a big deal for me in 2024. So I will continue wearing them into 2025. Highly recommend that you go check them out. I happen to believe that these are the most comfortable period underwear on the market. Try them for yourself and let me know what you think. If you were aware of the zero waste movement in 2016, 2017, you would know that the Keep Cup was the pinnacle, the idyllic image of the zero waste movement. And during that time, I did indeed buy a Keep Cup. I still use it to this day. I've only ever bought one, and I own like, I think 5 or 6, and I thrifted all the other ones, which is why typically you should not buy into internet trends. But I happen to still love my Keep Cup, and I happen to still use it like at least on a weekly basis. Shout out to my Keep Cup. Okay, I'm also not gonna talk about this for too long, but this is another good example of trends. The Stanley Cup became like the picture of the hyper-consumerism movement, and I felt really guilty about it for like a while, but the fact that I still use this again every single day, it's the only one I have, I found it secondhand. It did solve the problem that like was the reason I bought it, which was water stains in my car. I love this thing, and I use it every single day, so it just makes sense that it would make it into my best of the year. It is what it is. I think my regular swaps that made it to this list is kind of funny because I talk about them so much that it's like, why did I feel the need to put them on this list? But my collapsible grocery bags for sure made it onto this list because I have been grocery shopping a lot more in 2024. And the reason for that is I hosted a lot more. I did a lot more parties, a lot more gatherings. We did girls' night every Thursday. Like I was buying a lot more food to experiment with because I wasn't just giving everybody tofu, rice, and a veggie when they came to my house, because that's pretty much what I buy at the grocery store. But obviously I was buying and trying new things this year, so I was at the grocery store a lot more. My collapsible bags always are accompanying me. I never forget my bags because my collapsible ones are so easy to put in. I have them everywhere, okay? Have them everywhere. I have them by the front door so that I can grab them when I'm leaving. I have them in my car. I have them in my bike. They're absolutely everywhere to avoid any single-use plastic when I'm at the grocery store. My foot is falling asleep again. God. Please hold. And I have had my silicone reusable cupcake liners for years, and I maybe use them like once a year normally. But this year, I got a lot more use out of my cupcake liners because I don't really know what I guess hosting, because I was hosting more. I think also because I was going to like city council or like committee type meetings where it was like maybe 10 people, and baking cupcakes or muffins for something like that felt right. I did that a couple times. Like I love that a lot of the experience of using these reusable swaps as opposed to the single-use ones, the experience is just better. Like nothing ever gets stuck to a silicone cupcake liner. Also, if you ever want to just randomly make muffins or cupcakes, you'll never run out of them. They'll always just be there. You don't have to worry about having the liners at your house. Okay, now onto the swaps that I don't think I've ever shared in a swaps video before. First up is also related to hosting, ball aluminum cups. These are amazing. Sorry, I don't know what I wanted to say. These come in handy so much. Now, I don't use this as like a one-to-one swap for single-use plastic like solo cups. That's not how we use these. I guess you could, and I think that that's like some people's criticism of these is that like they're not more sustainable than single-use like solo cups. Although I have to disagree. Aluminum is one of the most recycled materials. It also reduces the amount of energy needed to make aluminum when it is made of recycled materials. It can also make its way back, like this, if I put this in my recycling, it could make its way back onto grocery store shelves as aluminum within 3 months. Like aluminum is a great material. I think these are really great for all the reasons that like obviously I don't want to be buying single-use plastic cups when I'm hosting a party, and we use them to also play water pong. We don't play beer pong in this house, we play water pong, but when we have parties we always do play that, so these come in handy for that. And also giving out glasses when I'm hosting is I'm not interested in having glass break all over my house. Like that's just not a thing. So obviously glasses don't work. Plastic, I don't like to eat or drink out of plastic ever. So that's just why these are better than that. And yeah, I got a lot of use out of these this year. I expect that I will be able to use these for years to come. And then once they're no longer usable for whatever reason, which I don't know what the reason would be. I don't know why I would ever have to get rid of these. But if I do, they are one of the most recyclable materials on this planet. So I love these. This swap is really new to me, not even this year, I feel like in the last like maybe 6 months. It's a reusable Nespresso pod for Nespressos. That's really obvious, Shelby. What is happening with your brain? I didn't drink coffee on a regular basis for years because I had this like, I don't know where it comes from. I mean, I guess I probably do if I really looked at my childhood trauma, but I have this fear of like developing a dependency on pretty much anything. I just don't want to be dependent on any kind of substance or really anything. And so I avoided doing the coffee in the morning for a very long time until, you know, your girl hit her 30s and then things just aren't the same. I could literally get like 3 hours of sleep and work for 12 hours with no problem and no coffee. It's not the same in my 30s, okay? So we introduced coffee. So I found an espresso secondhand, and then the company who makes these sent these to me. But you just put the coffee in here, put your little lid on, and put espresso. It makes you a single or a double shot of espresso, and it's super easy and like nice and contained in my kitchen. This was a great swap and an easy, like the easiest, smallest footprint on my countertop way to get an espresso shot. I do love it. So yes. Okay, I bought this swap at the very end of 2023, so really it didn't take full effect until 2024, if I did say so myself, and it's my e-bike. We decided to buy e-bikes when they were on sale at the end of last year, instead of buying a second car. It was a big debate in our household. Sometimes we feel the need for 2 cars, but since we got the e-bikes, we no longer feel the need to have 2 cars. It's really nice that we can get from our neighborhood to pretty much anywhere in the city that we need. The city of Austin has really great bike infrastructure in our experience, especially if you have an e-bike. If you didn't have an e-bike, biking 14 miles would probably be a little much, but for just like your average person. But with the e-bike, it feels completely doable. The really cool thing about our bikes is that they track how many miles we've used them for. So Madison and I, we don't always take them together, whereas the car pretty much, if the car is leaving the house, we are together in it. But combined with her e-bike and mine, we have almost 1,000 miles that we have saved from driving, which is incredible. I just think that's like such a cool one-to-one comparison where I can see where I made the swap from driving my car to taking my bike. We have solar panels, so we use the solar to charge our bikes, and so it's all a great little renewable contained situation. And we did a lot of research to find the e-bikes that would work well for both of us and would be like durable and like have high enough range to use them instead of a car. We looked at a few different brands that were really good, but at the end of the day we went with electric. We get stopped all the time, people asking us what the brand is, if we like it. Like we get interviewed about the bikes almost every time we go somewhere with them. So it's been a really incredible swap for us, and I know that doesn't work for everyone, but we made a really conscious decision when we bought this house that it would be walkable and bikeable for this exact reason. And yeah, I'm really happy with my e-bike. Okay, I've been gushing about this app so much over on my Instagram. If you don't follow me over there, you should. Go follow me over there. The app is called Index, and it is to catalog your wardrobe and keep track of the clothes that you're buying to make outfits. You know, instead of like having to pull out all your clothes and make outfits and see what you have, everything is digitized on your phone. And I love a Flatlay, okay? I love scrolling Pinterest because of the Flatlay outfit inspo, and now I can do that with the clothes that are in my closet. If I'm scrolling Pinterest and I see an outfit and I feel like I need to go and buy something to make that outfit, I actually don't, because I can just look in my app and find the closest thing I have, which like 9 times out of 10 makes me feel like, oh cool, I can literally wear this outfit tomorrow if I want without having to go and buy anything else. It's also been really cool because it calculates cost per wear. So you can put the pieces that you're wearing and attach them to a day in your calendar, and then the app is automatically calculating cost per wear. You can put in, if you bought the item secondhand, you can put in where you bought it, which is really helpful for tracking the clothes in your closet. Listen, I don't need to keep on and on about it. I plan on talking about it a lot this year because I'm using it so much and I love it so much. It has helped me swap the need of feeling like I need to always be bringing in new clothes. And it has helped me utilize the clothes I already have. So I love it. It's one of my favorite things I've done this year or last year. You know what I mean? I also officially got my yard certified as a wildlife habitat in 2024, so I have to include certified wildlife habitats as a swap for traditional lawns for 2025 and 2024. It's a great conversation starter. Yes, I have gotten some weird comments and looks and pushback and things from certain neighbors, but at the end of the day, you know what I've learned is that I'm not going to blanket statement this, but in my experience, if you know your neighbors and you're there for them and you have been able to foster that sense of community, people are not going to judge you just on your lawn. And as a matter of fact, like some of the people who like have made comments about my lawn, I recently became president of my neighborhood, which means that I am dedicating a lot of time to the good of our neighborhood. All of a sudden, my yard being a little bit different and weird isn't a problem anymore, because they know me beyond the lawn that they're walking past that looks a little funky. I understand that owning a home and having the ability to change your lawn is a privilege in so many ways, not just in way of access of like owning land, but in way of being able to feel safe, to be the one doing something different and stand out on your block. Like there's a lot of privilege in that as well. I enjoy being able to utilize my privilege to make a point to others who don't understand that they have that same privilege. And I think that if you have those privileges, you should use them for the betterment of not only like the wildlife that live in my front yard currently, but also for our entire ecosystem and for pushing back against problematic norms in our society that lead to much bigger problems. Like, don't get me started on all the ways that green grass lawns are problematic to our societal structure, because I'll talk about it for days. But I hope that more people do it. It's a great swap, and I had to put it in here because it's been one of my favorite things that I've done in 2024, and I will continue to do in 2025. I've always had my compost in the freezer, but this year in particular, having my compost in the freezer and my friends seeing it has gotten a lot of them to do the same, when otherwise they were really grossed out by the concept of composting. And not even composting, because like if you're grossed out by just the food scraps, you're not gonna be like turning compost and like taking its temperature and like doing the whole heap thing, right? The ability to freeze it made it a little less gross for them. I think that's really exciting. Another thing related to compost is that I've actually had friends who live in apartments who don't have access to composting. They would bring their compost in my compost bin to make sure that those food scraps were getting composted. And I've also had some relationships with people. There are like different sort of housing situations in our neighborhood. There are the homes, and then there are townhomes, and then there are apartments. And I've created some relationships through an app called Waste, where people can come and drop off their stuff in my compost bin as well. So everyone's living situation is different. People who think certain things are disgusting, you know, that's a thing. And I've been able to get around some of those things this year, which I feel like has been really great. According to Project Drawdown, on an individual level, preventing food waste is like one of the most impactful things we can do to fight climate change. So do it and get other people to do it. One of my favorite things I saw this year, oh my God, this is so incredible, is when you go to events, you know how like merch is often sold at events, like it's t-shirts and bags and stuff like that, or it's given out for free, whatever it is. Something I saw this year at multiple events was bring your own whatever and get it screen printed. You could bring your own shirt, you could bring your own bag. Those are the two things I saw actually, but I'm sure they would have put it on other things. And like the cool designs that people would create, you could just literally get it put on something that you already owned. Amazing, revolutionary, honestly, that you can still have merch, but you don't have to be creating a bunch of new garments that are really wasteful. And also there's not this pressure to like hand out the free tote bag or hand out the shirt. It's just like whoever wants it can get it. And I love that. I heard an insane statistic the other day that I think it's like 60% of textiles created end up in landfill within 12 months. What? And so what an incredible swap to be like, yeah, bring something from home that you have if you want the merch, you know? I love it. I love the concept. Oh, something I made this year was almond bacon bits. I really love, one of my favorite salad toppers are blanched almonds. And so when you do that, you take the skin off of them. It just makes them like a really great texture. If you haven't tried it, you should. But when I do that, I wanted to find a way to reuse the skins. And so I made like a plant-based bacon bit basically. And my friends have been requesting that I do that like over and over and over again. Ever since I made a salad using those things, people request it all the time. And so it's been one of my favorite zero waste swaps, is basically to use my almond skins as bacon bits. I have the recipe on my website. I'll leave it linked below. So one of my favorite swaps in 2024 that I hope I continue into 2025 that I've been working on for a long time, but I feel like I implemented really well this year, is swapping where I spend my free time. But whereas people spend time, I think like scrolling or watching TV or shopping, that's a big one. And instead I made my word of the year for 2024 create. And so I created a lot of things. I upcycled a lot of things. I used cardboard to make the houses in my kitchen for my Christmas decorations. I used a lot of different upcycled materials for my birthday party decorations because create was my word, right? So I was swapping those things for creating and upcycling. I'm really proud of how all of my birthday decorations turned out. I am obsessed with them, and that's like a really big project I did this year. I really got into punch needling this year because it's really easy, but the payoff is like really, really good. And all the punch needling I did this year was used with scrap yarn. Like, it doesn't take much yarn to do punch needle, and so I did a lot of it. I made my Halloween costume all from scrap materials, secondhand, and yeah, I really love punch needling. And I did all of these things, most of these things I did with friends at my house. So it was like, it gave us an activity to do that isn't like going out and drinking, because I don't do that. We didn't have to spend any money, and it was actually like time where we could like connect. Whereas like I feel like a lot of things that people do for entertainment, like you're kind of distracted during it, right? Like, so I feel like it's a good swap for my time. I also found that if I thrifted something that was kind of blah and boring, I could make it a lot more exciting just by little touches here and there. Like I thrifted this red button-up velvet shirt and I crocheted these bows onto it, which made it a lot more unique. I also bought this blue bucket hat and embroidered onto it, which made it a lot more unique, which gave me something to like do to fill my time. I'm talking about hobbies. I keep saying like entertainment, but it's like having hobbies. I feel like I've realized over the last couple of years that the hobby has died. And I feel like we really need to bring it back. I also became a certified master naturalist in 2024. And so I did a lot of volunteering to get that certification. Volunteering is like one of the best hobbies we can take up, and not just for environmental causes or conservation causes, which is a lot of what I have done. But there are so many causes out there that need our time and energy, and it would be much better utilized than like scrolling. Well, I racked my brain for a while, and those are all of the swaps that I could think of that were the best, at least in 2024, that I hope that you will utilize going into 2025. And if there's anything that you found in 2024 that you think we all need to know about for the new year, please leave it in the comments. I love to read comments like that. We all need help with reducing our waste, doing our best and advocating for the rest, right? And I just love reading comments. You guys have the best tips. So let me know in the comments if you like any of these, if you didn't like them, and if you have anything to add. And remember, until next time, you cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that you can do. Bye, guys.